Hi, today I'd like to talk about motific development. That's in Chapter 10 of Jazz Soloing Basics for Guitar. A typical jazz solo will alternate between the scalar lines like we've worked on in the previous couple of videos and motific ideas. And I have a sample solo today over a jazz standard, There Will Never Be Another You, that uses those two ideas, and it also uses the third important thing, and that is blues phrasing. So we're going to do the motific stuff today, and the monster blues lick I will put in the next video. So for learning to use motifs, as with lines, you need to be able to count and control when you're starting something in relation to the beat. A good way to practice that is to take something really simple and start it on every possible eighth note in the measure while you count aloud. So I'm going to do that here on just the E flat major chord. So I just have C and E flat on the fifth position. So this is an E flat major. So we're going to take those two notes. That's the motif. A motif doesn't need to be complicated, doesn't need to be fancy. It's like a little word in a sentence that's part of a larger idea. And if it's simple, then it's easier to have room to take it someplace. So what we're going to do is start it on every possible eighth note. Hopefully this is on. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So all of those starting points are possible, and you could do the whole thing backwards, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Zigzag through the example. Make sure you can start on any beat and get to the point where you really feel any possible eighth note starting place in the measure. And I can't overstress the importance of practicing while you are counting while you practice, so that all of this timing becomes second nature to you, and you can improvise freely on the gig. You don't have to count out loud while you're on the gig. I mean, there's nobody going to stop you from doing that, but you don't have to if you have your reflexes developed. So the other aspect of this motific development idea is take a small motif and go through chord changes with it, only changing the motif enough so that it fits, or at least it doesn't clash with the chord. So for that, I'm going to take the first 16 bars of this tune here, and we're going to do this. I'm starting with the same notes, this time quarter notes, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 quarter notes and 2 eighth notes. And I'm just going to change it basically by the minimum amount necessary to fit each chord as it comes up. So for that, if you're not used to this idea, you have to know the chords in the position that you're playing, right? If you're playing in fifth position, E flat major, and that would help, right? To know all the chords in the same spot with their arpeggios. So you might need to practice arpeggios through the progression as well. So now I'm going to play this example here. And again, the same motif only changing enough to follow the chords. 2, 3, 4. Do it again. D minor 7 flat, G7, C minor. I can do that again. A flat. Same thing. Same thing. And so forth. You can move it around a little bit, making sure that you're staying accurate as much as possible. So those are some of the foundational elements, and let me take a look at the application on my sample solo over here. It just goes through these two ideas, alternating back and forth between motifs and development and linear ideas, scale phrases like we've studied before. So in the first measures, we got pretty much the simplest thing that I used in the previous example, which is just C to E flat. But now it starts on the and of 2. So we got 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So you see how starting it on different beats is important, and you combine or displace the rhythmic starting point of the riff to make it interesting. And also to give it continuity so that it doesn't sound like you're just playing a bunch of random stuff. That's really important to make your solo accessible. If you have too many lines, people will sort of get tired of following your solo. And if it's all motifs and no lines, it might sound a little too simple. So we have in this beginning, the motific stuff. And then in measure 2, the same rhythmic idea is displaced, right? Starting on beat 2, going up the scale. So it sounds like it follows. And now in measure 3 and 4, we got kind of an up-down contour idea that happens twice. And that's repeating. And now because we're over here on these chords, we're using the C harmonic minor scale, which you want to be aware of, chord and scale. And now in measure 5, that's the next line, I switch to C Dorian to give it a little more color with that A note. And then we're going to drop down chromatically to the 3rd of the B flat minor 7. That's a key change there. We're going to A flat, and then there's a line right there just going straight down the A flat major scale from the 2 chord to the 5. And then we have the same kind of thing that was in measure 3 and 4, which is like an up-down. It's just a quick, tiny motif, and that's sort of a thread that ties the whole thing together, because we're going to use it again. So then here's a longer motif over A flat that we're going to repeat, just changing enough to fit the D flat 7 sharp 11 chord. So think of D flat 7 over here in pattern 3. Okay, and so that, and then we're on, what is this, measure 11. That's that little motif that keeps coming up. Now in measure 13 and 14, we got a new one. That's over F9, because that chord is sort of a surprise. And so we're just getting a little variety, but we're still using Motific development, and that sounds like this: 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This time it's on the strong beat each time. And then we have a line in measure 15 and 16. And that's a little harmonic idea at the end. Over the B, first it's over F minor, we're just using the E flat major scale, but with a skip at the beginning. Targeting the 7th of B flat. And we're actually superimposing a G major triad over that, although I have it spelled with C flat because it's, well, actually I could do it either way. But that's what's happening. When you have a dominant chord that is resolving from 5 to 1, you can stick that in there. It sounds kind of cool. All right, and well, that's a harmonic idea, and that's a little more developed or advanced, I should say. So we'll leave that for later. And that's actually enough information for today. Thanks very much for listening, and please subscribe to my channel and share the video with your friends if you can. See you next time.